Alright folks, welcome back. Thank you very much for watching those advertisements, but we're getting into the finals of the finals. Or not quite the finals of the finals just yet, but it is game 2 in a best of 3. And this is the final match to be played out today for the wildcard group. Spawning here in the bottom right corner of the map, it's going to be the Green Zerg player from Evil Geniuses, Jaedong.
The upper left as the Red Terran, it's YoDa Prime.
There's some caster things I get a little bit nostalgic about, moments like this where I remember once upon a time back when we were still like really small casters, and I'm talking even like before you and I were casting, like back in the days with like Zeph or with Penguin, we'd always feel like, okay, no, I get to introduce Jaedong next game. I get to introduce YoDa next game. Like, I'm only going to cast him once in a million years. I want to introduce him. So it's always kind of funny going back at those moments and realizing how far we've come. And I want to thank you guys again for tuning into this tournament, every tournament we've thrown to date, every show match we've held. I mean, we've come so far in such a, well, not even that short of an amount of a time, but we've come so far, and that's what matters the most. And while this is still not quite the finals of the tournament, I've enjoyed everyone who's tuned in so far. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And of course, none of this would be possible without these two sponsors. So thanks again to both Cheers for Gaming and CM Storm. Of course, we'll have a cool CM Storm mouse to give away in the finals. I think it's the Recon or something like that. I don't know the name offhand. I got linked a brand number. I'm going to go look it up afterwards. But yeah, we got a cooler mouse to give away. We got some Hearthstone packs. We got some t-shirts and stuff. There's a lot of giveaways coming on the finals day, guys. So while we've got the round of 8 and all these cool things tomorrow, don't forget it's Wednesday where you can cash in those partoofs, get some raffle tickets, and have a chance at some fabulous prizes.
I have a question. Have you ever introduced players, gone on your, like, you know, thanks to everyone, thanks to subscribers, thanks to sponsors, blah, 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 and then tried to introduce the players again?
Maybe on, like, a sleepy day? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, to be honest.
Damn. I don't ask because I'm like, you know, oh, if you want a dummy, just that I expect it.
Oh, so it's like, thanks to CM Storm, and now in the bottom right.
Basically, yeah, like, I'm the one who forgets that we already introduced them.
Ooh, yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I guess I'm just too used to doing them. I've got like such a autopilot mode that goes on in my brain when we do introductions. It's like, introduce the players. Remember to talk about the sponsors. Segue to the game. Check, check, check.
All right, then. I
mean, if I'm gonna be honest, like the start of the game here is, I mean, it's very important to introduce players. I feel, you know, everyone knows it's Jaedong and YoDa, sure, but I don't know. It's like a respect thing, I guess.
Oh, I don't know. I never really. That's some like seriously not important discussion. Like that's.
It really isn't. No, this is like.
That's a Reddit thread in the making right now. Actually, it's gonna be like 500 comments. Why do people have to introduce the players? Don't we know who they are?
You know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be like we'll forget to do the intros one time. It'll be like the unprofessional behavior of base. Oh wait, that's taken.
Haha. Oh, you can't have the same title on Reddit.
Alright, so a couple of Lings wanted to, of course, duck in and see what's going on, but the Overlord sees enough at the natural base. The bunker's up. He knows that YoDa's playing a little bit safe and not too wild, not too crazy.
No. So YoDa went bio last game, so can't say he's gonna go mech again here. It's a good map for it, though, if he wants to.
The bio was a very interesting choice. I really don't know if Jaedong came into that series straight up expecting mech or not. Obviously, he didn't like underreact or overreact. I mean, the Roach Worm was the most close to awkward thing in that game, but he canceled it pretty quickly. So it didn't eat into his minerals. It didn't take away from his gas count. But this time he's going 2-base layer. And, you know, we cast a lot of games with Impact recently doing quite a bit of this. I mean, the Evo Chamber's coming down, but I'm really thinking this is still Mutas. Yeah. Unless... Okay, there's the Roach Worm.
Oh, okay. Isn't this what he did the last time he was in King Sejong? I think so, against Chachi. Yeah, right, he went for the Roach Warren, and then he went into the Mutas. And that was very effective.
Yeah, it's not something you really expect either. There's such a linear way tech paths tend to go, and, you know, Mutas is kind of like taking a hard right, you know? I do like breaking down the back rocks too. You might consider like, oh, it opens up a path for the Hellions to come around, but on King Sejong, the advantage is like to go from one side and the pressure to the other, you gotta go all the way around. And even with the fastest units of the game, that still takes a long time.
Perfect Hellions are perfect.
Same stuff, 2 tumors. That was actually really good.
Yeah, I'm serious. They were pretty perfect. Perfect time, perfect shot. They don't get any good scouting, though. They would love to go and see if the third is taken, and if possible, what's at the front. If they saw a Roach Born in an Evo Chamber, I think YoDa would... Okay, well, he scans. He has been rather good about scanning, not being too greedy.
Actually, that's going to be the case all day. I'm so used to Terran players just never scanning, but the Hellion's going to try and get up here. There's definitely 2 holes he could have tried to run by, but now that the roaches have popped out, nothing's getting through that. Not anytime soon.
How did the Hellion not die? You better die. Alright, I'll go repair that later, I suppose. But he got that scouting, right? Scan, now the Hellions, he saw the roaches were made. Not a lot of roaches, but again, it's just like that one step further. I think he's going to go ahead and attack me with a lot of roaches with +1. Now, I don't know if seeing just the one roach warren is quite enough to be like, well, he's probably going to transfer over into, like, mutas later, like the exact same build he did earlier on. I don't think he was watching, but maybe he was. But I guess it could be a reasonable step to take. Now, YoDa is going to go for Mac as an armory's put down.
Normally I just sit here questioning that choice, but he's been doing it all day and he's been getting away with it, so there's really no critique or criticism for his choice to play Meg. It just comes down to what he chooses to make, I suppose. Because there are those awkward times where, you know, you do get caught off guard by the Mutalisk. You don't have that Thor out. There's not enough turrets, so there's not a Viking to complement it.
Now, what is Jaedong scouting being like? You know, he didn't get the roaches like he did versus Joshi earlier on. He just went back into droning. It looks like, okay, yeah, the Overlord is right there. It sees... It doesn't see... Okay, no, it does see more than one factory. Including the one that was, you know, building Hellion. So he knows. And he goes into an infestation pit.
Oh, I don't know if I like the position of this infestation pit, though. Because if your opponent is going back, they're not really dropping a lot. So your main is actually particularly safe. Whereas this is a base that's probably going to get pushed. Probably going to get pressured.
Oh, well. Hopefully won't play a part. It's not as bad as that one game on Akalon Wastes.
Oh my gosh, who was that? Yeah, they put the infestation pit like right in the middle.
Yeah,
like TLO'd his baneling nest, right? Like what the
hell? Yeah, did that thing was finished? We should pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Alright, so Burrow's gonna come up here, which I actually particularly like. If there's one thing that's gonna stop a Hellion run by most of the time, it's Burrow. At that point, you can burn and scan, of course, but that makes that run by so much more costly for the Terran player. Instances like this too, you could also hide the drones, but the Banshee. The Banshee's gonna get alive, stay alive and get over here to the main. Now it is Swarm host out of Jaedong, and I talked a little bit before. I haven't seen the most successful games out of Jaedong when it does come to Swarm host, but this is not a terrible response to mech at all. And players who are very skilled at this have definitely beaten YoDa with it. But wow, this Banshee in the natural base, these have gotten so many more kills than I ever would have thought. Up to 20 workers killed from 2 Banshees.
Oh, that's kind of inexcusable. There was only one Spore Crawler, the one that you see here. There wasn't one at the third, and there wasn't one on the main. That just seems like, I don't know, asking for trouble, I suppose, really. I would have forgiven it if he had mutas on the way, but he doesn't have any anti-air except the Queen, so I really don't know about that. He already paid the price for it, but with Swarm Host out, they're free units. You can start to come back in a game where you're behind, come back in a game where you lost some minerals maybe you should not have. I thought maybe he was going to do something with like Roach Burrow and Tunneling Claws, because you got that Burrow, but I suppose not.
Nice little block there on the star part. I actually really like the Raven coming out. I was going to talk on this, but it's going to be delayed for a bit of time. So you don't want to burn scans. That's 100% for sure. But I think more importantly than this, it gives point defense drones, which are going to definitely support those tank lines. Oftentimes, all the point defense drone does is buy time for the tanks to siege or unsiege. But either way, it's a very nice addition to have in your army. Banshee, oh no, runs out of cloak. Can't do any more damage. No. It's already done enough, I feel, though. Like 10 drones on one Banshee, like that is cost effective. Jaedong has less workers than a Terran player. Not something you ever want to find yourself caught in as a Zerg. Did YoDa not notice those roaches? No, because they're burrowed. You can't see them, obviously. Come on, Time Go, get it together. They're not. They didn't notice that they burrowed? Yeah, he did. Okay, turret's gonna come out. This is a bit awkward for Jaedong. He does have tunneling claws, so he can move away. Or I think he does, right? Yeah, he does. Oh, he did? Oh. Huh. Oh, I thought he did not get it, so... Alright, that's cool. I really like that he got that then. That's why I said, like, I hope that he was gonna do. And he does. He doesn't have that many roaches. Look at the regen on this, on this, by the way. It's gonna kill him, but it takes so many extra shots. Why is Jaedong roaches heal so fast? Just move! It does bust the depot down, but there's not a whole lot further. Yeah, that's gonna come. So this could be a long one. This could be a long game, guys. Depends really on, I'd say, the next 5 minutes of the game. This is where momentum tends to shift for a Zerg player if they're putting on the right amount of pressure. But YoDa's got a really nice defensive setup. Roach is trying to come in for the backside. Oops, that's kind of awkward. And of course, with the Raven out, Jaedong has to be a little bit careful himself. I like the Spore Crawlers being here in the front lines. I would like to see more static defense. I do feel very strongly that the best Zerg players we see, some of the best Swarm Host handlers, if you will, like Snoot, we always see that static defense that covers the Swarm Host. The greatest weakness is the cooldown between the Locust spawns and getting caught off guard. So while we don't have a lot of static defense down right now, am I condemning Jaedong? No, but it's one of those things where if you can get them up later, you know, a line of spores, a line of spines, it's going to just completely give him a lot of safety moving to the late game.
I was wondering what the cutoff was going to be for Swarm Host. You know, he invested into his roaches, the burrow and the tunneling claws, but he only had like 10. And like, what can you really do with that? Like minor harassment, so maybe you're gonna get a lot of Swarm Hosts. And he's kind of gone like middle of the road with it. 25 roaches, 15 Swarm Hosts, should have been 16, as that one just died. So it is really middle of the road. You know, the roach could have a very powerful counterattack, but then the Swarm Hosts have a pretty decent defensive position.
You know, it's a little bit sad. Even small mistakes like those Swarm Hosts that we see classically get carried away by the Locust. I mean, everything against YoDa, you have to play perfectly. It's inexcusable to lose free units like that. But roaches get hit at the natural base. There's a hell of a lot of turrets down that we're expecting Mutalisks, and I guess it's a good choice. This could potentially come out still, but it's Vipers, it's roaches for now, and of course the Swarm Host pressure in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
This position could not be better, by the way. Wow.
If Jaedong is going to go for Vipers and like pulls, like abducts into Swarm Host, this is when I feel like he should get those the Spore Crawlers you were talking about, the major line of like the wall of China of defense.
Yeah.
But he's still committing to more and more roaches, trying to get those counterattacks in.
Man, I can't stress this. Like, I've seen tank lines that have like 3 times as many tanks and hold this off as effectively. Like, just so well positioned. But roaches get on top of the tanks here towards the 3rd. So Jaedong still getting some nice harass up. 11 SCVs have died so far. Combination friendly fire and combination of roaches. More roaches pop up over here on the left. It's like they're just spawning underneath the tanks with that tunneling claws. It's so good. And of course they heal up so quickly.
Secret attacks are doing...
I like it. I like it a lot. This is really reminding me of Starbucks style, where like you would take these roaches, like you use the Swarm Host not to actually attack, but just to distract while you maneuver roaches around, while you maneuver Mutalisks around.
Yeah, they're not really doing all that much damage, but they're not expensive, and as you said, he's still depending a lot on Swarm Host to do, well, I guess be the linchpin in his entire build. So he has a lot of money. Not really gas, a lot of money. It's all going into Mutas right now. I don't know about the switch. Even like a bigger Muta switch, I wouldn't know.
I kind of like this though, because there's not that many Thors already in play. Like the Vikings, the turrets, the Raven potential. I mean, yes, this does suck. It's not like a clear window of opportunity, but because there's no Thors in play, I actually don't think this is the worst choice in the world.
We'll see. Looks like he's gonna get just a little bit more to it.
And thanks gave chase to the roaches that were hiding way up here to the north too. So finally cleans this up. Just we got a small break. I'm sorry, we had a big donation come in, and you didn't get a chance to shout out earlier, so I want to squeeze it in real quick before I forget. Riamar, you glorious son of a gun, with a $40 donation, says hello. So there's your shout out and my gratitude to you, sir.
YoDa, practicing for Gumiho or something. What's up? Fusion Core, 2 more starports.
Yeah.
It is King Jaedong. He's on 4 bases.
It's a really good way to play this out, but the problem is for Jaedong, I mean, or for YoDa rather, is Jaedong is here with a lot of mutas. This is not something you can ignore. The Vikings should be able to deal with this though. There might not be the Ravens here for the point defense drones or seeker missiles, but that is a lot of Vikings you just don't mess with.
Looks like the Roach secret attacks have just been done away with. He's only on 3 roaches. Completely given up on that idea.
With a planetary defending your natural base, I mean. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to squeeze by, so it kind of makes sense that he's given up. These locusts, I kind of feel like he could half the number of these and segment some over to, start swarming perhaps this planetary, where the tanks aren't. I mean, that's kind of the key thing when it does come to dealing with Terran defensive lines. They're usually very stacked, but in one location.
The upgrades for Jaedong's air starting to get up there. That rhymed. But with only +2, like, the battle cruisers are going to be very powerful with their upgrades. 3-1 over just 2.
These Swarmers are in a very bad position.
Yeah, they are. Luckily the Hellions didn't notice.
No, they didn't. Not quite Blue Flame, but still quite scary as they do get over here. That Hellbat transformation, though, should be able to kill this hatchery, no problemo. Even the Mutalisks coming here to defend shouldn't... it's going to be close. The Hellbats have a lot of damage. It looks like the Mutas might just swamp this out. Meanwhile, Locust moving here towards the natural base. There's a planetary up, and the point defense rooms are exhausted. So this is being chipped away, and it's not being repaired. This is an expensive loss, quite frankly.
Battle cruisers are on the way. 4 of them popping out at a time. YoDa, not with a big bank at all, however. Hey, don't laugh at them. Their efforts are not in vain.
It is hilarious because a lot of the times, you just send those SCVs out to get sacrificed. You want to free up supply, but if you can't actually kill a spore crawler for it, I mean, more power to you.
That's actually pretty awesome if they could. He's still at 64 SCVs, so that wasn't a big cut there, even though he has a couple of orbitals. So he's at 6 orbitals, a couple of planetaries now.
Jaedong with the sneak attacks still going off with his roaches. Sadly, only one gets through. That gets demolished. I'm just thinking back to okay, how do you really deal with mech? And when it gets to this point in the game, YoDa, you get to this point where you're almost unbreakable. We saw this sort of attitude that I would love to see adapted more. Morrow versus Ghost User in 32 Boys 1 Cup. Now, it's hilarious that I'm actually not going to talk about the mutalisks that he made, but it's the fact that he sacrificed everything to go for this, what was almost 200 supply in just pure army value. And I kind of feel like that might actually be your best and only chance to break something that gets so out of control. You have to just give up on the drones. You've got to sacrifice everything you've got, because oftentimes the abducts don't cut it. The battlecruisers are just too strong.
First time I've seen a Viper's used with mutas. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's orbital command for it.
That's like Brood War Corsair stuff with the Disruptor Web, right? Just take out the turrets entirely.
I wanted to talk about how we always hype up Gumiho's plan. It's like, oh my god, I got the 4 base on mech. You guys are so screwed. But YoDa isn't Gumiho, so we don't know how good he is with the style. So far, it's looking pretty good. I mean, he's gotten up to battlecruisers, so far so good, right?
Right. The execution has been here.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it. We have only seen one person beat Gumiho when he gets to that point, and even then it was really, really just a perfect scenario type deal that even allowed him to win.
I mean, I would regard Solar as a very talented Zerg player, on par, if not better than Jaedong at this stage of StarCraft 2, and he lost out to this recently. There's a big Reddit thread about it too from the game we cast, where it's just
right. Yeah, exactly. And that's just the kind of point I wanted to make, right? YoDa might not be Gumiho, but Jaedong's not. I think it was Life that actually beat Gumiho.
Yeah,
that one time.
Yeah, he lost 3 times leading into it, and we finally saw him.
Exactly.
Exactly. Before we keep talking about this, I want to bring this up. I really like what Jaedong's doing by taking this base. I've definitely talked about this with Fenrir on cast before in the past, where it's if you're playing against mech and they're good at turtle, just take everything you can. Remove this mineral patch. Take that gas. That's YoDa's base that Jaedong's essentially stealing.
YoDa's about to be maxed out on a very good composition. A lot of battlecruisers, a lot of ravens, I guess, comparatively. 7 ravens is nothing to scoff at. And he can start pushing out a little bit. It's still going to be hard, swarm hosts are there, spore crawlers are there. But, the mutas, they're going to be less effective. The Thors are going to follow the army. He doesn't have any corruptors. His bank is good, not great. And his upgrades are starting to get there. He's got another Spire. I'm not feeling so hot. Even though you look at this map and you must be like, oh, Jaedong looks like it's such a lead. Look at the map. I actually disagree.
This
is too many Gumiho games.
Yeah, I look at this map and I see the scrape spread, and I think if I'm a newer to StarCraft 2 viewer, I'm like, wow, that Zerg player is pretty good. But for me, I'm like, no, I just see the scrape slowly receding in about 4 minutes, as he slowly pushes out and takes the map back under his control.
I mean, the best way we've seen people deal with this is persistence and patience and a big bank, really, forcing them to take, bad engagements with the Raven energy, and then you attack later on when they have no energy. That's what's really super important.
I'm thinking, honestly, his best bet might be trying to bait some secret missiles so he can friendly fire kamikaze mode.
Yeah,
but
something like that.
This is so many battlecruisers. This is so Jaedong not being prepared for this. I mean, he just made Banelings. He just made Zerglings. He doesn't... I don't know that he can deal with this zombie grab. Not without Infestor support, at least, bare minimum.
Yeah, even Infestors don't seem like it's had to be the perfect scenario, right? No energy on the Ravens. The Infestors get the Ravens and the Vikings fungal, not really the battlecruisers so much. And then you come in with the Corruptors and Vipers and you kill the battlecruisers. It's that perfect thing that just never seems to happen. And Jaedong, he's been in control, quote unquote, of this game, but it's this is the end game. This is the somewhat unbeatable composition from YoDa.
Blinding clouds do go down on top of the army, but there's so many flippin' turrets covering these tanks. Even if he kills all the tanks, I mean, I like the kamikaze for the tanks. This opens up the opportunity for the swarm host, the locust, to possibly get in here, but he loses all of his mutalisks for it. What's he got to remax on? Jaedong doesn't have a bank.
Lings. Lings is an interesting choice. I mean, the battle cruisers can't really chase them down.
Yeah, I feel like it's honestly, truthfully, not a bad choice. He's got them not upgraded, though, is the only reason I'm scoffing at this. Like, Adrenal Glands was made, but it's level 1 weapon upgrades. He's running him into a planetary. No. Jaedong's really got to consolidate his forces here. Take a deep breath. I mean, it's his last life he's on. It's game 2, and he's down 1. He wants to make it to the round of 8. He's got to get through and make that money in. This really, it's the worst possible scenario for him to try and bring a series back. It's gotten almost too far out of hand. You know, back in the days when you'd hear Broodlord Infestor's OP, how do you beat it? And everyone's like, you don't let it get to that point. Like, that logic applies right now, right here, to the mech army that YoDa has managed to amass. There's how many battlecruisers out right? 11 battlecruisers. With full upgrades, 6 armor, nothing is going to touch these things. Even if you were to max out on Corruptors at this point.
He doesn't have any. That's what's super disappointing.
I almost think it's almost better, because they would just be a waste. They would just die. So if he keeps making links, tries to run around, maybe base trades it out.
You can't. But you can't, because they lift. It's Terran.
Yeah, I know. Like, Jaedong, I feel, is in a losing position without question. But
it sucks, but you have to go Corruptors. They're terrible. Like, Zerg really should have gotten like another like air unit. I seriously believe that. Legacy of the Void.
Or made Corruptors not. Like, I love the Legacy of the Void.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't really address the problem with Corruptors.
Yeah, really, it really didn't. But you know, Jaedong's gonna try and do something a little unorthodox. And sure, it looks cool. It'll take down the base. It takes down maybe the entire ground army. That still wouldn't matter. He's
gonna go down with style. YoDa was actually probably opening that with like welcome arms. Like, thank you for reducing my SCD count. Now I can get even more battle cruisers.
To my plan.
Yeah, Yamato cannon is actually, you know what, as the Corruptors come in, there's actually 1 Yamato, like, for each Corruptor.
This is just, there's no way. Like, the Ravens are on full energy. No pulls into Spore Crawlers either. Like, Spore Crawlers really help out. Yeah. Like, stop the Spags even die!
No, the point defense runs are a little too strong. Jaedong is losing everything here. Down in supply when it comes to army. Still up in drones, but it doesn't matter if you're mining if you got nothing to mine for. Still with the Swarm Host trying to break this line in the north, it's not going to happen. He did take out the planetary through the center, but maybe... no, there's just no way. I think YoDa with this massively crazy, out of hand, completely, let's be honest, unkillable army is just going to pick Jaedong apart until he leaves.
Why is he building the fusion core? Did Jaedong like target that down? Like, oh, this will get him.
Did he actually? Maybe. I think he actually did kill it. I don't see it.
It's too late.
I don't see the building stab, so killed the fusion core. All right, I sad to see Jaedong go, guys. But YoDa will be our second and final member from the wildcard group to make it into the round of 8. Now, this is normally where we would end the cast, but we actually have just a little